All right. Thank you for tuning back in. It means a lot to me. Please smash and plant that subscribe button, plant the like button. It means so much to me. And it really helps grow the channel so that I can be inspired to make more videos. I'm really, really inspired today to share you guys the ugly truth about gardening. And that's not clickbait at all. I will be sharing my deepest and most secret regrets with gardening. And this is over the course of many years, over 10 years gardening. And I can honestly tell you what I do have the biggest regrets in. And so let's turn it around. We'll do a little walkthrough and I'll talk about what I feel like is the most important thing to really set in the forefront of your mind when you're starting your plant journey and you're trying to expand. So let's turn it around and see what we've got going on and how I do that. Now, this is for people with not just for people with a small space, I should say, because plant placement means a lot. And I think that is probably one of my biggest regrets. Let's turn it around and check everything out. So plant placement in a greenhouse is very important, but it's even more so important when we're talking about outside in the yard, which we will go out there in just 1 second. But I wanted to show you about plant placement in the greenhouse. If anything's up on a shelf, it is going to be in danger of more heat in the summer. In the wintertime, it's okay. Now, we've got a lot of stuff on the ground because it is getting to be hot and it can be over 120 degrees in this greenhouse during the day. That's why we got to make sure we water it every day. We're germinating seedlings. Everything's looking good, ready to plant out for sure very soon. Now, one of the first ugly truths we'll get into is this has to do with this scarlet right here. This is a scarlet jaboticaba that I should have brought indoors. I easily could have, but I didn't. And now it may be dead completely. And this is the ugly truth of knowing your zone. Now, this is zone 10 or 11. And I tried to keep it outside in the greenhouse all year. And now this works with some varieties. This works with the red. This works with other varieties of jaboticaba just fine. But the scarlet is cold sensitive. And it seems this year that we may have lost it. Now, you may be starting gardening and be attracted to plants that are out of your zone. Just know, you'll have to do work to keep them alive. You'll have to keep them in the house where they're going to make things dirty. And it's just something to know before you get into it. So, that's definitely a loss that we took. But then I like the saying that I like is, if plants aren't dying, you're not trying. So if plants aren't dying, you're not trying pretty much means if you don't have some losses in your collection is not really that great. You're not trying very hard at growing plants. So with our losses, we have successes. Here's the calamondins orange coming back very well, budding, looking like it's going to be a bush this year. We have the Japanese maple seedling that I have grown from a seed in here coming out nicely. We have great successes, but mind you, these successes are all stuff that's within my zone. So that's the ugly truth of knowing what's in your zone before you plant it, and then knowing that it will grow successfully all year. So right here we have strawberries just growing beautifully. Look at them. Because they're in my zone, they're ever-bearing variety. Here's more strawberries, a rosemary, mulberry. So we'll kind of shift over into the yard here, but I do want to go back to the deck. Another thing that's good for my zone, the loquat. So over here we'll shift to placement. So placement of plants is major because you may have a spouse that doesn't want your plants to be all over the yard. So think about placement of plants and why that matters. Now here, this is a fence here, and I have plants up against the fence, okay? Because that makes sense. So the basic rule I like to say with placement is, especially in a small space, go to the edges of the property. Now, you don't necessarily want to shade out your stuff, but if you can go to the edges of the property, then it'll make a huge difference in variety, in providing you more space in your actual yard. So here we have an in-ground loquat tree that is a very nice specimen. It's getting large. This is in my zone, so you see what I'm saying with that. And now we'll go over here to the garden beds, looking nice. Now, this is another ugly truth that I think a lot of people will overlook. Excuse me, I have to get in here. So, the first one is spacing of plants. You can space most plants 1 inch apart, and they'll figure out the rest. You don't need everything to be wildly spread out, because when you don't have the space for it, it's just going to hurt your yields. Now here's some arugula. You don't want to let it go to seed. So it's about to flower. You don't want to let that happen, because you eat it for the leaves, not the flowers. So, see, that was good. Fresh arugula from the garden. So anyways, placement is a major thing. See this is carrots. That's one of the few things that spacing really does matter. These have to be at least 1 inch to a 1/2 inch apart, probably 1 inch apart, to actually develop into carrots. But with lettuce, this is lettuce and spinach, you can literally just plant a line of spinach, just sprinkle the seeds in. You don't worry about spacing, because we're growing them for their leaves. So you can just, this makes it really easy to just come in here and cut all the leaves down, and then they'll come again once it's ready, and you can get a maximum yield because everything is close. So here we have broccoli coming on very nicely. The broccoli, I think maybe a lot of people probably hesitate to grow broccoli, but I've found it very satisfying and easy to grow broccoli. We do have that space pretty close too, and it looks great. The red Russian kale, spaced very close, and then along with the blue kale. Let's taste some of this kale. Taste the baby leaf here. Oh yeah. Oh wow. Oh, that's really good. So that's like some very tender kale, like almost like a lettuce, but with that deep flavor of kale. Let me try one more. That's nice. So that's another ugly truth. I think this is the 4th one, and it's the fact that a little dirt never hurt. So you don't really have to wash your plants too much. Just, I mean, think about it. When you're watering them, you're Look at this bee trying to come say hi. When you're watering them, you're washing them. So here's some kale that I just transplanted. It's looking a little scroggly, but you don't really worry about that because there's so many seedlings. The strong ones will come up, the weak ones will die off, and it'll be a nice line. So yeah, I mean, we can keep walking, and I'll give one more. We'll leave this little garden area. See that I have to have it fenced off. You don't want to have this stuff open, even though there is another fence around, but the bunnies and stuff would just have a field day with this. That's all tomatoes, some watermelon and beans, container varieties. So let's walk over here. I'll walk down this little line, give one more ugly truth. All right. So, oh, look at the ginkgo tree coming out well. All right, here's one more, so we'll walk over here and see. Okay. All right, so this is the ugly truth of gardening, where some plants have to die to realize what plants are the successors. And this is the Coronata restinga, jaboticaba, coming back beautifully. It is very resistant to the cold. I'm talking down below 20 degrees, and there was no dieback. It's coming back from the tips. I didn't even have to prune it back or cut it or anything. So this along with a couple other jaboticaba varieties is what my stock is going to be reduced down to. Along with this line of absolute winners, which are the some sort of Eugenia, possibly Paulista. They are flowering size. We have a whole line of them, all planted from seed, all extremely cold hardy. And then to finish off the line here, we've got the apple. So yeah, I mean, the ugly truth is that stuff is gonna die to know what's gonna succeed, as far as the plants go, and you can't let that ever discourage you. Actually, you learn from it and just document it, and then you know what varieties do best for you. So I knew deep down I can grow jaboticaba. I can't necessarily grow all of the varieties, only the more cold hardy ones. And I can obviously grow Eugenia, which was actually free seed that was shipped to me, that I would have never even known about. So you have to, the reality of it is, you just have to go through some of the trial and error. So hold on one second, we'll go back to the... Alright. We're back in the greenhouse. So what I was saying is, you just got to do trial and error with it and know your zone. That's one of the big ones, that'll really help you. And then placement, do the edges, so that it looks nice. It'll give you privacy. It's just the way to go. So yeah, I mean, I hope you were inspired to plant something today. It's really not hard, to get out there and just plant something. Even if you have no money, what I'd encourage you to do, with zero money, okay, and you want to get inspired about plants, this is what you do. Go to the woods, anywhere. There's usually so much trash. You'll find an old plant pot that's trash, pick that up, and then you'll find some sort of invasive species of tree. Now, ironically, invasive trees are usually really great bonsais because it's a resilient species to cutting back. So you're going to take that invasive tree and just rip it out of the ground. It doesn't even, use your strength. It doesn't even matter if you have a shovel or not. Rip it out of the soil, put it in that pot and bring it home. Nurture it, put some more leaves and soil and mulch on it, and then water it, obviously, and then that'll be your first tree in the collection. Completely free process. Get you super stoked about gardening for free. So that's another ugly truth, I would say, is that too many of these companies make it seem like gardening's like this like expensive endeavor to get into. It's really not. Gardening has been going on since forever, over 10,000 years, and people started doing gardening before they had money. So think about it like that. Gardening's the original money. Plants are the original money when you think about it. So plants should be free. Keep that in mind. Plants should be free. So yeah, really, that's a huge ugly truth. If you're watching till now and you heard that ugly truth, props to you. Thank you. I really appreciate you for tuning into the end. And also, yeah, we'll just wrap up the video here in the greenhouse. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful day. Keep growing, and please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. All right.